Coming to you live from Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, following what is the Mets' biggest win in 6 years, a 5-4 win over the Los Angeles Dodgers. This is the Mets Corner. I'm your host, Steve Antaki. Let's get into it. I don't have any words right now. That was the most stressful regular season game I think I've watched, definitely since 2015, but I don't know if I've ever seen a game have so many ups and downs. I mean, I'm besides myself. I am the happiest person in the world. I cannot believe they won. And there's only one thing to say. The team, the team, the team. It took every single guy on the team to get a win today, aside from maybe two relief pitchers that didn't come in. And they did it. I mean, they did it. They did everything that they haven't done for the last 6 years. They went into Dodger Stadium, a place that has been a house of horrors since 2015, and split a series against what is the second best team in the National League. In 2015, when I was watching the Mets, I said to myself, if they win this game 5 and game 5 of the NLDS in Dodger Stadium, I was like, they don't have to win another game for another decade in LA. They don't. I was dead serious too, and I meant it that day. They didn't have to win another game for a decade, but man, did that feel good. I mean, that was a game the Mets always lose. I mean, even in 2015, they probably lose. They always lose that kind of game. To be down 2-1, get up 4-2, and see the lead slip away in what was the longest bottom of the ninth in Major League history. Coming back in the 10th, getting the job done, JD Davis, shout out to you, and Adonis Medina, of all people, coming in, doing what he had to do, getting the save against Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner. I mean, thank you, Trey Turner, by the way, for saying catcher's interference. You really helped us out there. I mean, and Will Smith, I guess, was the final out. Medina, I mean, you can't say enough. It's the team. It's the team. It's everything we've said about this team for the last, 55 plus games is they play like a team. And it's the biggest win in 6 years. You can't tell me otherwise. There is nothing bigger than this. They proved that they belong. They can now go the rest of their 7-game road trip or 6-game road trip with, some weight off their shoulders, knowing that, they can win games on the West Coast and they can play with the Dodgers in LA when they don't have DeGrom and Scherzer. And it really is just the perfect win, the perfect way to end a series. They did it, and I'm besides me. I didn't know how to react. I was sitting on my couch with my girlfriend watching the game, and I said to her, there's no way they win. I'm in the 10th inning. I was like, there's no way they win. I know they're going to lose. I'm just waiting for it to happen. She's more optimistic than me, but calm me down. But we watched together, and they did it. I mean, I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know. I have no words, but they pulled the rabbit out of their hat. What a game. I mean, the team. So I guess to recap, it's, Mets go down 2-0 on a Trey Turner home run. Shout out to Trevor Williams, too. He came in. He pitched really an admirable game. Had one mistake. He's been pretty good, too. Him being the Mets' 7th or 8th starter shows you that this team is deep. Trevor Williams is a capable pitcher. I mean, he might have his hiccups. He'll give up his runs, in bunches, it seems. But he came through, pitched well. Marte gets him on the board to go 2-1. And then it goes kind of silent for about 5 innings. I mean, nothing really happened. The Mets, though, while nothing happened on the scoreboard, they worked out a ton of good at-bats. They were hitting into bad luck. Keith Hernandez pointed it out, that the Mets were grinding out at-bats, doing what they've been doing all season. And it happened in the 8th inning where Lindor gets up to start the 8th, a double. Pete knocks him in. It was a split second, the Mets tied the game. And then J.D. Davis has one of the biggest, most, unrecognized at-bats of the game, hits a ground ball to second. Pete goes to third, advances the runner. It's an out on the scorecard, but it's a great out. It's a good baseball play. It's what good baseball teams do, is that play. J.D. Davis with a huge, huge out. Escobar comes through, hits the ball, I'm sorry, I think Canna walked, and then Escobar got by a pitch, excuse me, and Escobar hits a deep fly ball to right field. I thought it was gone off the bat, but he advances Pete, and then I believe Guillorme got walked as well. Walked, actually, because Canna didn't walk. Guillorme walked, and then Nito comes through with a huge hit to put the Mets up 4-2, and then Buck Showalter does what I love, brings in his best pitcher to face the top of the lineup, which is the lineup for the Dodgers, or so we thought. Gets them 1-2-3, classic vintage, like filthy Edwin Diaz. And then we go to the ninth inning. Seth Lugo gets up a home run on a pitch that wasn't a bad pitch. It actually was a bad pitch. It was a hanging curveball. But didn't appear to be a home run off the bat. And it went out. He settled down, got the next two, and then gives up a double to Chris Taylor after almost giving up a home run, and then gives up a single to Eddie Alvarez, who is a two different, Olympic medalist in speed skating, I believe, and baseball. So, I mean, he is an athlete. There is no doubt about it. But he was the last person I think the Dodgers wanted up, and the person the Mets most wanted up in that situation. Didn't matter. He came through. We go to the 10th. And J.D. Davis, I think, third or fourth pitch of the at-bat, lines one into center field for a base hit, or left center field, gets in front of Chris Taylor. Pete comes around, scores, and that brings us to the bottom of the 10th, where Adonis Medina, of all people, has to face Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner with a man on second and nobody out. He gets Mookie Betts to fly out to right. He gets Freddie Freeman to ground out. And Trey Turner, thank you, Trey Turner, complains like all the Dodgers do. All they do is complain. All game is they complain about the pitch strike, like the strikes. Whatever. He complains that he hit Nito's bat on a check swing, which he did. Fine. Go to first base. Do us a favor. That was the best thing he could have done, was go to first base. Nobody gave a shit. Will Smith comes up, the guy who got the game within a run in the ninth inning, and Adonis Medina strikes him out. And I mean, it was something we'll never see again. It's an all-time Mets classic. There's no doubt about it. They were, probably going to lose, and then a game they had to win when they got the lead 4-2, and then a game they were absolutely going to lose when Lugo blew it, and they didn't have Diaz. And then a miracle happens. An absolute, gift from God, Adonis Medina. I can't believe it. I am still expecting the game to go on and the Mets lost, and I have no words. It's the biggest win of the season. It's the biggest win in 6 years. It's the Mets team coming through, doing what they always do. Oh, man, what a way to end the road trip in LA. What a way to continue or end the series in LA, continue a road trip. Mets have to build on this. 2 huge wins, best team in the National League. I don't want to hear about the Dodgers. I don't want to hear about anything. This team without DeGrom and Scherzer went in there and split 2. They somehow lost the 2 games against Tyler Anderson, and I don't even remember the guy who pitched the first game. It's somebody who they should have probably beat. And then they beat Walker Buehler and Julio Urias games. It makes no sense. But that's this Mets team, is that they find ways to win. They do what needs to be done in order to win. I am still in shock. I just keep saying it. I'm still in shock. The Mets just doesn't matter. It never matters. They're never out of it. And even when I say they're going to lose, they find ways to win. So kudos to this team. I mean, just never quit. They never quit. They had a chance to. Lugo didn't have his best stuff. But, yeah, they find a way. They find a way. My stat of the game today is, I just said it, 2-2 in LA. That's all you need to know. Nothing else needs to be said. 2-2 in LA. You sign up for that the minute you see the schedule. 2-2. My quote of the game is actually a quote that we didn't hear. Usually this will be a SNY, Gary, Keith, or Ron, probably a Keith quote on what's going on. But the quote of the game today for me is actually going to be Buck Showalter calling down to the bullpen and saying, "Get me Edwin Diaz in the 8th inning." I love that move. I know it didn't work out with Lugo, but it's a move that is the right move because Lugo didn't have it today. So you bring Lugo into the 8th inning, and he doesn't have it against Betts, Freeman, and Turner. The Mets don't win that game. They probably lose that game before the 9th inning. Like, you can't knock Buck for that. It was the right move. It didn't work out, but it was the right move. That can happen. Like, if he brought in Edwin, if he waited to bring in Edwin and, Lugo got the job done and then Edwin blew it in the 9th, no one's going to bat an eye because he's the closer, but you want your best pitcher, which is unequivocally Edwin Diaz in the bullpen. It's not Seth Lugo. Drew Smith is really good. He's not the best pitcher in the bullpen. It is Edwin Diaz. And I know Mets fans, lament about him because of his struggles in 2019. He's been good. Every closer blows games. Every single one. It doesn't, Mariano Rivera blew Game 7 of the World Series, and no one talks about it. That's how good he was. But that's what happens in baseball. That's what happens with closers. You can't be, hung up on every single outing with them. It's a part of the whole. And Edwin Diaz is the best pitcher in the Mets bullpen. He came in to face the undoubted best part of the Dodgers lineup, and he did his job. I mean, no one got on base, and it's something that I love seeing our manager do, trusting in Edwin Diaz, trusting in his best pitcher to get a job done, to get the job done, and I give them so much credit. I give Edwin a lot of credit for coming in. I give Buck a lot of credit for not, giving a crap what other people are going to think. That's what this team is 37-19, and that's why they're the best team in the National League. I'm going to go unsung hero today. I'm going to go with the guy Trevor Williams. I could have went 15 different ways with this. I mean, you have Eduardo Escobar could have been it, MVP, Lindor, Edwin. But I went with Trevor Williams because he got rattled in the first inning, and this game could have been over. I mean, it could have been 4:30, and we could have been shutting the TV off and saying, "I'm going to go about my Sunday, not deal with this shit." But Trevor Williams, he shut the Dodgers out. The Dodgers, the great lineup, yeah, they got a great top 3. The rest is good. I wouldn't say it's great. They have great pitching. But the Dodgers, they're missing Max Muncy. They didn't do a lot of hitting this series. I mean, I know they won the first game 2-0. It wasn't a lot of hitting. They won the next game 6-1, in which the game, Bassett just gave up a few, gopher balls. But all in all, the game was pretty competitive, and you kind of felt like if the Mets bats could get going and they get back in this game, and then, a few runs get given up by some back-end relievers. And then they score 4 runs the other night because there's a 5-out inning with Pete's 2-out error. I'm not going to knock Pete. He came through huge last night. But they scored 4 runs. 3 of them were unearned. And then today, they scored 4 runs, but it was, it took a lot to get to that 4-run mark, especially against Trevor Williams, a guy who you would expect the Dodgers to hit. I mean, the Mets they get it from everybody. Doesn't matter who, doesn't matter when. They're getting it from everybody, and it's why they are the best team in the National League. I cannot believe Trevor Williams did what he did, but he did. And Mets are better for it. He's a good player, Trevor. He deserves it. And then a look ahead, man. Hey, they're going to San Diego. You got to find a way to get 2 out of 3. I know it's tough on the road to always ask for 2 out of 3. Go take 2 out of 3. Go stomp on these National League West teams' throats. You've already asserted dominance over the Giants. The Rockies are ass. The Diamondbacks, you've asserted dominance. The Dodgers, you've shown that you can play. And now just go beat the Padres. The Padres have 1 hitter in their lineup. That's it. It's Manny Machado. Pitch him carefully. The Mets have their 3 best healthy pitchers going in that series with Carrasco, Bassett, and Taijuan. There's no reason they can't win 2 out of 3. It would greatly behoove them to win 2 out of 3. So that series, I believe, starts tomorrow. I don't know if it's 10 o'clock or 9:40, but either way, we'll be up watching. I'm not saying that it's going to be, pretty, and I'll probably doze off in the 7th or 8th inning, but hopefully the Mets have a big enough lead where I can. And the way the bats are hitting, the bats hit again today well. I know they didn't have a lot of hits in the first 7 or 8 innings, but the bats hit it well, and it came through when it mattered. So, all in all, I'll cap it off with this. The biggest Mets win in 6 years. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's the biggest Mets win in 6 years. I'm still at a loss for words. Adonis Medina in the 10th inning against Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and Trey Turner. Nobody knows who Adonis Medina is except for him, and he does it. Man, what a win! So, I besides myself, but hey, let's roll it into tomorrow. So that's all I have tonight after a Mets classic. You can follow me and a Mets fan on Twitter. You probably already know that. You can please be sure to follow the Mets Corner on any social media site you have. That'd be great. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you to my producer, Maggie Rose. Thank you for, as always, tuning in after every Mets game when I decide to actually do this. I should be doing it after every game, but, I have work. I have a life. It's tough, but the Mets, they win a game like this. Hey, someone argued the Mets are too big a part of my life. Probably not wrong, but hey, what do you want to do? Some people like to plant, some people like to paint. I like to watch the Mets. But yeah, so wherever you're listening, thank you for joining, and we will see you tomorrow. Let's go Mets.